Peace, y'all. We made it. Imagine this. Imagine you want to upgrade your results at a particular thing. Only thing is, you refuse or you're unwilling to upgrade the system or your systems to achieve those results. Wanting different results without changing your systems. Man, it's truly wonderful. I'm glad you can make it. I once I once was in a position I once was in plenty of positions. Put it this way. It's I heard it put it's insanity or you're insane wanting a different outcome by doing the same thing or doing the same thing expecting different outcomes, right? That's insanity. Okay? And man, I've experienced that I was hands on with that. You know what I mean? For a long time. And until I can't really say I can't, maybe in my I want to say maybe in my 30s, right? Sometime in my 30s, right? Where you start breaking certain things down and having to really accept who you are and look in the mirror and not be afraid of seeing, your own flaws, right? Like everybody's flawed, perfectly flawed, right? But almost like wishing, looking to the sky, right? Almost like looking to the sky, wishing for, and you're hungry, right? Wishing that the sky will give you wheat, right? Knowing that wheat comes from the earth, it comes from the ground, right? So on one hand, you're wishing, you're wishing, like you're wishing, you're not in tune of what reality is, or you have no understanding at all, right? I say that to say, even like this goes across the board, even with quote unquote religious sectors all across the world, right? And the idea behind it, right? We have this notion that if we just wish enough, if we put so much work into wishing for the wheat or for that result, right, that it'll magically appear somehow, knowing that we know that it comes from out of the ground, right? It has to grow. It has to be planted. You have to plant the seeds, and it has to grow from the earth. Okay, that's the order of things. Okay, so when I say you want to upgrade the results, or you just want to upgrade without upgrading the system. The system is the process in receiving results. Okay, habits that are enforced to arrive at a certain, not a certain outcome, but that is strive in that direction to get a favorable outcome, because we don't have no controls of the outcome either, right? But you want a specific result. Okay, you want to start eating healthier for the better possibility or a greater possibility of living a longer, healthier lifestyle, longevity wise. Okay, that's the same reason why someone may want to exercise and to have a better quality of life. Okay, and their system is exercising, right? Not just wishing on a star, wishing, looking up in the sky and wishing, say, hey, I want to live to be 100 years old. But every chance I get, I want to go to the corner store and I want to get, you understand? And it just, and it takes me back, it takes me back personally. In my experience was, I remember when we was, I say we we had went to we wanted to upgrade, I want to say, and be better individuals. And the religion, believing in God, the God that's in the sky idea, right? You wanted to choose the best religion. You want to go about it. Some of us, went into the churches, and some of us went into the mosque, and we practiced the difference in the two in practice. Okay, and along the lines of, not to say that one had more faith than the other, right? But they both kind of was rooted in I'm a pray, I'm a pray, right? Or I'm a pray a certain way, and as long as I do X amount of prayers, and as long as I memorize a certain script, that all my prayers or wishes and everything that I send up to the sky, to the heavens, right, will make the wheat fall out the sky. Or even though I know for a fact that wheat comes from out of the ground. Okay, and I believe that's deliberate, and that's not the direction of this video. But I just wanna really zoom in or focus in on what the true God is, the visible God. Okay, what the true visible God is. Okay, and with that being said, you can't expect to upgrade your results. You can't expect to upgrade your situation without upgrading the system, the current system in place, or the current software in place, in order to achieve that upgraded situation or that upgraded results. Okay. It was a time I found myself in, man, life is about challenges, and challenges, if whether you know it or not, you're forced to grow, you're forced to change, and there's nothing wrong with change. Everything is change. Everything is moving. And that's what understanding is. So before I had understanding, or lack understanding, it's easy to get caught up in expecting, and in lack of better words, I didn't have a lifestyle. I didn't grow up with expecting something for nothing. No, that wasn't the way we grew up. But not even in that demographic, so to speak, of expecting something from nothing, but thinking that that's the way it works, in the universe, right? The visible way, what we see, okay, can be proven. Okay, I went to McDonald's 365 days of a year. Okay, 365 and a half days, however many days there is going to be this year, right? And I went to McDonald's, and I ate McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Three meals, three McMeals. And I'm expecting, because I say a certain amount of prayers to the clouds, right, that the result is I'm going to be healthy. And as long as I read this from this script, and my script and my prayers is better than that in which they're doing over there, their way, and their function in their script, right? And it's going to yield me that's not real. Okay? That's not real. Implementing, first you got to face yourself in the mirror and really understand what God is and who God is. And I say to you that God is made in the image of who you are. You are a reflection of God. Oh, that's blasphemy. Turn him off, canceling. Understand what I'm saying here? Okay? It's not for everybody. No, everybody's not going to receive this well, but just listen to me. If you know wheat comes from out of the ground, and the wheat analogy I got from the That was in the daily call. Okay, final call. Pardon me. Right. If you the wheat comes from out of the ground, the wheat doesn't fall out of the sky. So there's a man that had the planet that's doing the harvest, right? Okay, it doesn't come out of the sky. The system in which we eat and feed ourselves, right, is not wishing on a star, wishing to the clouds from some man in the sky construct, right? That's not real. That's almost that's a fairy tale. You have to implement, and you have to implement real life habits. There is no in between. You're doing the right thing or you're not doing the right thing. There's no in between thing. Okay? So if you create good habits, that's the only way to achieve good results, right? When you create bad habits, even eating at McDonald's 365 days, that's not going to give you the good results or anywhere in between. That's going to reap bad results. Okay? Man sow shall he reap. Okay? That is principle. And that's universal law. We're attracting what we are and who we are, not what we want and who we want. Okay? So I say all that to say I seen what is it? The processional. I seen a processional, and they had the horses. Like the. It's not coming to my head. When the going to the burial, and then you have the cars like a convoy, right? The funeral processional, right? And I was watching, because you gotta, all your car, it's decent if you allow them to get the right of way and everybody go along, until they clear out, and then you proceed to go where you're going, right? So as we waiting, we're watching the horses. They had the horses out there, right? And a gentleman says to me, it was like his thoughts just came out, right? And we was there together, and he said, it's funny. And I didn't think anything's funny about, we don't laugh at death, right? It wasn't that funny, but he wasn't referring to it being funny, the death being funny. But he said to me, and it was kind of interesting. He said, look at that. He said, they treat you well. They, with luxury, spend a lot of money when you die. Right, they treat you very well and miss you and give you all the praises once you die. But when you're living, you understand, they don't treat you that way. They treat you good when you die. After you die, you got to be dead to get treated good. And I understood where he was coming from, and that was profound. That was, to me, that was profound. And it's sort of like the religious sect. To have heaven, you have to die to get to heaven, right? Like, that's the ultimate goal, right? In the religion ideology, right? That you have to live a certain way to do good, just to die to get to to get the good results. And that's not real. Today, now, here, and it's in the here and now, right? You do good now. Be you to free you, but be that now. Today is all we got. Life is happening today. You don't wait on life to happen. Life is happening in the day. And, piggybacking on what I said, you don't wait till don't wait till tomorrow for it to be your last day doing something that you shouldn't be doing anymore. Don't wait till tomorrow to be the best version of yourself. Life is happening in the day. Our whole life is happening in the now. When we're asleep, when we're like resting, like when we're asleep, life really isn't happening then. Life is happening once your eyes open. We made it. This is fruition at that moment. So whether you was 2 years old, 40 years old, 100 years old, once when you awake, that's when life is taking place. You're not, that business, that family, that favorite car, that favorite cafe, that favorite spot on the beach, whatever it is, that favorite fishing spot, that favorite basketball court that you like to play on, that favorite trail that favorite pool you like to go to, that favorite neighbor you like to wave to, that favorite dog that you like to pet. That's only happening in the day. That's only happening in the now. This life is about, this is experience. Life is experiences. Life is experiences. And to experience it on the highest level, be touched by life. Allow it to, you don't want life to hurt you, but you want to experience it. You want to touch it. You want to feel it. That's what the feeling is. So you get that feeling, but that's what life is about. This journey is about the feeling. Okay? And to recognize, what's real and what's not. And the ideal of it. So mind, your mind has to be in the right place. You got to have the right mindset. We have to have the right mindset. You understand? And again, the right mindset is not the insane mindset that expects, it to gather, good results, and the greatest success without putting together the greatest or good system in order to achieve it. And we're blessed. Certain people are blessed with certain talents, and on a certain purpose and are purposeful, right? But we can neglect those things too, and that's why you need to be in tune. To be able to know when we need to adjust. Like I believe that's while we deal with certain trials and errors, right? And tribulations along our journeys, and situations present themselves. And then, like myself, I went through a few things multiple times, probably not learning those lessons because I wasn't aware of it, didn't have understanding of what it is. And then the way that you respond to them. So you're either going to take that information, that data downloaded in the mainframe, and split out a new code. Say, okay, no, that way doesn't work. Let's get rid of this. Let me see what we got. Oh, okay. I'm gonna do it like this, and then I'm gonna try. I'm gonna experiment with this and get the results, get that information back, and say, okay, yeah, that's working. Okay, we can nix that, right? Yeah, and and learn the importance of communicating. We listen to different things. It's really just being aware. It's called awareness, and tapped in. Everything is consciousness. So we are one, and we are God in consciousness. That's a divine nature. It is to even be able to communicate on a high level with each other, with ourselves, and to technology. All right. So we're not dealing with, the only limits placed on us is the limits of ourselves, or the limits suggested to us by others for whatever reason. Judge not. I don't really get into that, but I know I experienced it myself, thinking that along a certain point, and I'm not banging on religion. Religion, I believe, did a very, very important job, played a very important part of my life when it did, because it gave me, one, something to be a part of. It gave me, two, something to strive for. Okay, identity wise, it cleaned up. It cleaned up a lot of my act because, like, let's say when shout out to all the Muslims when they during the Ramadan, right? They you had to demonstrate a certain amount of discipline and commitment to even go, go through that month of Ramadan fasting and reading and, really making your prayers. And that's not nothing that you're supposed to vacate after Ramadan is over, but, that experience was beautiful. And then, looking piggyback now, I don't even subscribe, but fasting is a part of my lifestyle now. Certain things don't work the same way for everybody. Whereas though, I chose, because, something be on my mind and I'll think about it and I got questions. And once, I dive into certain things, that's just the way I am. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not good with, you don't ask beyond this point. You don't ask no questions when it comes to nah, that doesn't work for me. So, and not banging on anybody, no religion. I think it's a beautiful thing actually. It's just, whatever works for you. All I'm saying is to have the understanding what God is and what's going to work in order to, and so far as system goes, to get you to the results that you need to achieve, whether it's financial, whether it's personal, whether it's, doesn't matter what it is. Okay, it could be, a physical, whatever it may be. And, some of all put together, in one. You understand? So it's just, it's we need strength for when it gets hard. You want to be strong and sturdy when it gets hard, not wanting it to get easy or want it to be easy to, withstand the storm. Okay, and whether we're aware of it or not, it's a real thin line between, someone wanting it to be, or us wanting it to be easier versus us wanting to be stronger. It's a real thin line. It's a fine line there. And it's detrimental. It's a fine detrimental line because it is not in my experience that things get easier. Like I'm going to wish to the heavens for the thing that needs to happen. I want it to be easy. Versus, let's say, affirming with myself or communicating with myself what we need to do to prepare and get stronger for the tasks ahead that we need to, so when we're met with it on today, when we're met with it, we can, stand up against it and fight to get it, and enjoy it, and not to say that everything is, not to say that, he that neglects the moment throws away all that he has. That is, man, out of the circle seven. Out of circle seven. He who neglects the moment throws away all that he has. That is profound, That's stay in the now, heal in the now. Live life in the now, experience in the now. And don't place no limits on who it is that you can become. And know that, what it is that you seek is for you. Like, why not you? Like, why not you? Change the way that, change the way that you think of things. Change the way that you think of things. Only certain people have that kind of success and, are able to do those certain things that I look. Well, why shouldn't you be able to do those things? Show me your friends. I'll show you you. Show me your habits, and I'll show you you. You understand? I'm telling you what God loves. You understand? this thing ain't what you thought it was. And through experience, through trials and error, tribulations, I'm here to tell you that when you make your mind up, man, it's unreal the change that one can make just by changing your mindset. When you find yourself, like a snake sheds its. I'm not at all comparing myself to a snake, but you shed old skin and begin anew. It's like a new life. You pick up where you're at, and we going that way. Okay, here we going that way. I don't even need that no more. Like that's not where I was at 10 years ago, 20 years ago. You at where you at today, years ago, right? And work it. You cannot expect it to be easy, but through your system, if you train yourself with the proper system and the proper acknowledgement of who you are, where you are, and where you're trying to get to, oh man, it's possible, and the journey's beautiful. If you're up for the challenge, and nothing changes if you don't change the system. Hey, I'm Drew. I hope everybody has a truly wonderful, great everything. Peace.